Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, and of course to day 3 of Inktober. I took a small pan here of the varying inks that you will see throughout this video. Really, it is primarily the Dr. P.H. Martin's matte black color, but there are subtle hints of like the purple lake color in the eyes, the crimson red on the lips, and the metallic copper and gold on her outfit to kind of add a little bit of color and touch to the piece as a whole. But it was definitely a lot of fun, and I fully realized that when it comes to metallic inks that it is a love-hate relationship on this end. I don't know about you guys, but oof, well, let me tell you. But anyways, of course, we are continuing the theme for this week, which is classic monster movies or just horror movies in general, whatever you fancy. And with that, my character for today is based off of Zita Johan's character in the 1932 film. She played Anck Su Namun, and I'm sure my pronunciation was horrendous, but I did my best. And some of you guys might recognize that character name because it is the 1932 film was reimagined as the 1999 Brendan Fraser film. And that honestly is one of my favorite movies of all time. I think just because it came out and it's something I grew up with and I absolutely loved, and I was 9 at the time and I was like, this is amazing. And I still love watching it today, as funny as it sounds. That was actually one of my first box set films that I ever received, and I still love it, so can't go wrong. And that's where I decided to have fun with it today. I took the 1932 character and kind of reimagined her costume in a little bit of a simplistic and fun way. I really wanted to try and reimagine her headdress a bit more, but I found myself getting so frustrated with it that rather than try and just rework it, I decided to simplify it for myself before I got too worked up and create kind of a cute and subtle reimagining for my piece, and also kind of a modern twist on her costume with the way that I designed the full layout. And I kind of love the way that this piece lays and flows from top to bottom. I did decide to bring back my little monster doll for this one, and of course she is holding a little mummy in her hand because I couldn't help it. It is based off of the Mummy movie, so similar to the Bride of Frankenstein, I gave her her little buddy as a doll. So I think he came out pretty cute as well, and it kind of ties the piece together as a whole. And I'm really having a lot of fun doing little fun random interpretations of these classic horror films, and I do have a couple modern ones coming a little bit later, so you will be seeing those before the new week theme comes out for next week. So it's something that I've been keeping in mind. And yeah, I mean, the whole thing with this one, I started doing the Pigment Chrome lining, of course, for the face and subtly for the hair as well. I found that if I pre-lined the swirls in her bangs, it was a lot easier for me to go back and lay the brushed ink rather than trying to leave it and start directly with the brushed ink for how delicate the swirls in her bangs can be. So I laid out all of my simple line work with the Pigment Microns and was able to kind of give myself a pattern to flow with. And then I took the Dr. P.H. Martin's matte black color and watered it down a good bit and started laying the really light color of just like a gray wash on parts of her outfit that would actually be more of like a white fabric. But of course I wanted to, because it is more of an ink wash, and I have a lot of white as the background. I use the gray to kind of create the lighter fabric, and to also, well, the nice thing about doing the wash as I stumble over myself is that I can lay the layers, and because I wanted her fabric to be more of like a see-through, very soft looking fabric, doing the wash kind of helps to build up those layers so that you can kind of start to build that subtle look. And that's why on the outlines of her legs that would actually be behind fabric, I just used the lighter ink wash to lay out a subtle path of where her leg would be to kind of give the hint of shadows. And I think one of my favorite parts for this piece, in all honesty, is the jet black hair. I don't know why, but something about the way it turned out on this piece, I just kind of love all together, how it brings the piece together. And you'll see later in the video that I fully realize that I kind of like did the front of her hair and then forgot about the hair that's behind her back, and I go back and I fix it because I'm like, wait a minute, that doesn't look right. And of course I decided to use the Winsor & Newton gold ink to add the little bit of gold like jewels that would be on her body, or metallic pieces I should say. And like I said before, it's a love-hate relationship. I do love the way that metallic ink looks, but I hate the way that it lays for whatever reason, because in order to get it to really be a nice opaque kind of look, you either have to lay it on thick or kind of build up the layers, or you just kind of have to really go slow and let it dry as you go. So it's one of those where I was like, I love this, but I hate this. And of course, because of that, I decided to put a giant gold circle behind her because I can't get enough. But I like the way that it kind of turned out. Part of me wonders if, like I should or I shouldn't, as I was drawing this, and I was like, you know what, we're just gonna go for it. And so I did, and I think it kind of brings the piece together. And it's one of those where as I was doing it, I wasn't sure of myself, and then once I was finished, I was like, okay, yeah, it came out nice. The only thing that I kind of look back on now is thinking if maybe I should go back and bolden some of her outline just to kind of make her stand out a bit more over the gold in the background. But all the same, I still love the way that she looks. And you can see that I am adding those little subtle hints, and of course continuing to shadow the fabric. The one thing that I have been trying to really kind of stress for myself with doing Inktober this year especially is having fun with clothes, because clothing is something that I continuously struggle with in art, and I think it's just because I overthink the way that fabric tends to lay or overwork it in a lot of ways. So for me, a lot of times I feel like it doesn't look right, and I'm like, oh, I need to fix it, and then I go fix it, and then I don't like the way it looks even more. But it's one of those things where I feel like when I'm doing the softer white colors, I actually end up loving the way that it starts to turn out. And that's kind of how I felt with this piece, doing the transparent fabric on her body and really kind of letting it just flow and seeing how it works and kind of letting it work for itself, if that makes sense, made me appreciate the challenge that it is and pushing myself. So you gotta have fun with it. And I am so happy I went back and finally added that hair behind her body, because like I said, it brings it all together. But anyways, I hope that you guys are also enjoying Inktober, and of course I hope that you guys have a super fantastic day. It's Inktober day 3. Stay awesome, and as always, take it easy, and I will see you in the next video.